Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for the top 100 characters in the global popularity poll. I am very excited to get to this. I did my reaction to spots 101 through 1567, so if you want to see that video first, you can go check that one out. This one will maybe be shorter since we're just talking 100 here, but who knows. I want to at least not just read out names, but give some thoughts on them, like whether I think somebody should be higher or lower, if this makes sense. I want to at least give some thoughts here about the characters that we get in the top 100. And as far as being spoiled on things, I tried my best to not be. But of course I was spoiled where Carrot is, so I know where Carrot ended up as, and I was even going to do kind of a prediction, but I was like, if I already know where a character is, then maybe that sort of ruins it. So instead of trying to do a prediction, and also that might distract from actually reacting to the results, I'll make sure to talk about the results more. But on top of that, there were just some general predictions I have. Also, I know that Cracker, who I brought up before, made it into the top 100 somehow. I guess this is a meme vote, then I'm unaware of how it got there. I had brought up before, I was like, when I saw Whitey in the first reaction, I was like, Whitey, where's Where's Cracker? And there's some movie characters in here too. Where's my boy Honky? So I don't know how high Cracker will be, but again, I did see that thing where they posted like, oh, not in order, these are the top 30. What order do you think they'll be in? And I was gonna do, predictions off of that, but then again, I saw where Carrot was, and Cracker was in that. So Cracker's not just meme voted into the top 100, meme voted into the top 30, but for me, I unironically like Cracker. I thought he was cool. I liked his fight with Luffy. I thought it was really weird how so many characters get defeated and then get back up, but then he was defeated by Luffy at the beginning of that arc, and we just pretty much never saw him again until he fought and got off-screened by Kuzan in the cover stories. Like, I thought it was weird that of all the characters that get up after a fight, he never got back up at all at any point. But I actually like him, so, I'm not really too upset by that meme vote or anything. Either way, I think I'm rambling too much. Let's just get into reacting to these. I don't think there was anything else I was spoiled on or anything else I'll say. I mean, just general predictions going in, I'll kind of get to when I get to them, but things like, I think Luffy is definitely going to be number 1. I would have been spoiled if he wasn't, probably. Same thing with Zoro being number 2, but honestly, in my opinion, if there was any time that Sanji had a chance of beating Zoro, I kind of feel like it's now. Zoro really hasn't had all that much lately, and I've just seen more and more people supporting Sanji. I would guess Sanji's in 3rd, because as much as I was happy and excited to see Nami in 3rd last time, I absolutely love Nami. As much as I was happy for that, I don't really think she's getting 3rd again this time. I think it's gonna probably be Sanji. We saw Rox doing very well, and I think Loki in the midterms, Loki wasn't doing as well as I thought he should. I thought he should be doing even better. Uto was doing ridiculously high for just a movie character, but I think it has to do with Otto's popularity, really. I think that's where the votes are coming from there. So again, depending on how much people are like, we want to get Otto's attention, we really want to vote Uta up because of that. Like, she could still be top 10, but I don't know, top 10 just seems maybe a little egregious. So either way, I think that's about it. Let's just react to these and talk about them as we do. So, okay, just making sure you can see that, all right. 100th place, we have Emporio Ivankov. Hee-haw, the Queen of the Queers. I really love Ivankov. I like Ivankov a lot, so for me, happy they're top 100, and I'd maybe go even higher. I said in the 101 through 1567, I said in that ranking that I had planned before these results came out to do my own ranking, but I just never had time. And doing a ranking with all of these, I didn't even recognize some of these characters. They are true background characters who actually did nothing. With that in mind, it would have maybe been a disaster to try to rank all of them, but I haven't done a ranking in a long time, so if I ever get time, I really want to get time, I will do another ranking again at some point. So 99th place, we have Stussy, the clone Stussy, I'm guessing? Do we distinguish between clone Stussy and Buckingham Stussy? Like, this seems like clone Stussy. I don't remember if we saw Buckingham Stussy yet or not. Are the votes split between the two of them separately? Because this is definitely the clone one's art, yeah? And I don't remember seeing the non-clone one, so unless she's higher, maybe they're just both together? I don't know, I'm actually confused. If anybody can tell me, oh, you just don't remember we already saw the real Stussy, then do so. But 98th place, we have Gaimon. Stussy, I don't know if I would put her higher or lower, but top 100 I think is fair enough. The competition's really high, though. 98th is Gaimon. I, personally speaking, don't hate Gaimon or anything, but whenever I'm rewatching or rereading One Piece, which is actually a little often, actually, I always am like, ah, great, we're getting to that island again. I don't think it's a bad story or anything, but it does just feel every time I see it, I'm like, we got to get through this again before we can continue on. So I would not be putting Gaimon this high personally. Marguerite at 97th. You'll love to see it. I think Marguerite's like underrated. I thought her relationship with Luffy was good, but then as soon as Hancock came in and Hancock's relationship with Luffy started getting built up, Marguerite just really got thrown to the background and never recovered from that. Shachi is wild, 96th place. The Law upscale, I don't know, Shachi and Penguin have always just kind of been there for me. Same with like Heat and Wire. I've always wanted more for them as characters, but they've always been for me. 95th place is Isho Fujitora. I really, 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 really like Fujitora. I maybe put Fujitora higher. Though I really like him, he isn't the most exciting. So I'd kind of like a bit more. And 94th place is Rebecca. Everybody used to hate on Rebecca so much. But I actually like her in Kiros' story a lot. I think we already saw Kiros, so she's rated even higher. I think Kiros is really underrated. So I like them. Good to see them here. 93rd place is Hongo, which is a little ridiculous to me. He has a cool character design and all, but he really does feel like carried by a cool character design. He's not really much of a character, really. We haven't really seen much of anything. 92nd place is Shushu, who did even better than the 100th he was in last time, I think. So that's nice to see. I think it's cute still voting for Shushu and everything, and the story there is good. 91st place, you'll love to see it, Karu. I think Karu didn't do that well last character poll, so it's really, 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 really nice to see Karu doing better when I don't think he did that well last time. 90th place, or I could be completely wrong and he's fallen in the rankings, but I think he wasn't top 100 last time. 90th place is the Thousand Sunny, and me personally, I kind of prefer the Mary to the Sunny, so the rankings, once again, going with my sort of same opinion here. I'm pretty meh on the Sunny, really. 89th place is Iceberg. Totally fair. Iceberg doesn't hit for me that much. I think he's a good character, but I just don't particularly like hype him up that much, even though I do think he and his story are really cool. 88th place, Caesar Clown. I do really like Caesar Clown. I think, I think he's really, really, really interesting and all. So, fair enough. 87th place, I think this is high for Hina. Hina doesn't really do anything ever, I don't feel like. I don't know. She's always just kind of been there. She's kind of been nothing to me. 86th place is Pell. I love Pell. I think Pell is great. The progenitor of the will of P out here. So, seeing Pell top 100, I am totally cool with it. 85th place, Kozuki Odin. And this is one where way down for last time, but I think he should be even lower. I think Odin's lame. I think Odin sucks. And here's the thing. back at the time, I felt like that was more of a hot take where some people were like really hyping him up, but then some people didn't like him. But now pretty much any channel I go to, any discussion I have or see or anything, now I feel like people are kind of on my page. I think most people just don't like Odin that much. And I didn't like Odin, so it's like, okay, more people are kind of on the same wavelength with me. I'd put him even lower. Then 84th place, Kawamatsu, just okay. Again, Wano generally wasn't very good, but Kawamatsu is one of the more inoffensive Wano characters. Then 83rd place, we have Kikunojo or Okiku, and I think that Kiku is one of the best Wano characters. Again, it is Wano, but Kiku was a good character. In everything that we saw, Kiku got a lot. The early introductions with Zoro and Luffy were very good, and then she has the stuff in the prison mine and everything, and once we get into the raid, there's the early stuff in the raid where I think she fights Kanjuro, maybe? Stays behind while the others continue forth, and then there's the stuff later on when Kaido's in there, so Okiku, very, very, very good. I actually wouldn't have been upset if Okiku died there. Again, it feels weird how many characters in Wano just died when it's like, oh, that was a death, and how many characters survived, and you're like, oh, they survived. It's not as egregious as like Kinemon, who had like a super well-written death, and then they will have peed him out of it. Kiku's death was still strong though, so her getting Will of Peed was less Will of Peeing, but still. Then 82nd place we have, and I always love the joke of Usopp predicting everything, and then back on what is it? Back on Thriller Bark, he was like, there's a beautiful master swordswoman with meat, and it's like, holy shit, he did it again. It's so good. And then 82nd place, Vinsmoke Reiju. Again, people might be horny voting a little bit, but I also get really liking Reiju because of the role she played in Sanji's backstory. I think her role in Whole Cake is less exciting than her role in the backstory, but Reiju's solid enough. Personally, I've said this plenty of times, I like the Power Rangers outfit style for all of the Vinsmoke siblings. Like, the outfit style is really neat and it's a reference and all, but I kind of do wish they had all blonde hair like their parents and Sanji instead of just random colored hair. I feel like the hair is just a bit much, and their character designs would look better if they just matched Sanji and the parents. 81st place is Kung Fu Dugong, who was high last time too. And I think Kung Fu Dugong is like a super fun mascot type character, so super cool with that, super happy with that. 80th place is Monet. This is a good placement. I love Monet. I thought Monet was amazing. I used to always love the theories of her surviving somehow, but ironically enough, I've said Will of P a lot so far this video, but she is one of the few characters that didn't get Will of P out of her death. So I loved Monet. I thought her story was really, really good. 79th place is Penguin. Much like Shachi, it's just kind of there. It's just kind of there. I don't know. I wouldn't put him this high, but it's not like I dislike him or anything. It's just kind of there. 78th place is Koala. I love Koala's backstory. Koala's backstory is amazing, and then her coming back as the part of the revolutionaries and everything is really nice. All of that's good. But the revolutionaries are just really lame. So, she has the debuff of being one of the revolutionaries, and they're just super lame. They pretty much never do anything. But her backstory is really cool. And I like how it was something from an earlier backstory in Fishman Island that came into play later on in the present story like that. 77th place is Diaz Drake. I really like Drake personally. I just wish he was handled better. And I think that's one thing that makes it difficult for me with character rankings and stuff, is I'd say this for pretty much any prominent character in One Piece after Wano. At this point, pretty much any prominent character, if I try to rank them, every character with high highs also has low lows. I have at least some issue with the writing with every character that I love. If I say I love Usopp, it's like, well, I love Usopp, but he hasn't done anything post time skip. If I love Zoro, and it's like I love Zoro, but I don't feel like the Wano stuff was handled that super well for him. I don't really like that in hindsight, and I don't know, he's just kind of gotten one note over the years. If I say I like most of the Straw Hats, it's their issues with how much they've got or not gotten to do in the post time skip, except for maybe like Brooke. Brooke has gotten some love. But then bringing up Jinbei, it's like, okay, I love Jinbei. Jinbei used to be like top 5 for me, maybe at least top 10. But then Jinbei's writing as a Straw Hat, I feel like is a lot weaker than his writing was before joining the Straw Hats. So again, I don't want to get too off on that because I could go off on like every character, but that's where I am with Drake too, where it's like every character that I really like, I also have issues with the writing here. Again, I love Carrot. Carrot's maybe my favorite. It's between Carrot and Doflamingo. I love Carrot, but the way her writing was going a certain way and going a certain way from the time she was introduced up until the defeat by Sparrow, it's like, okay, she has a really understandable character arc, and then we just took a hard turn, never did anything with her character again, and everything that we were told about her character or that happened with her character just doesn't make any sense whatsoever toward Pedro's will, toward what she wanted, what Pedro wanted. For some reason, she's doing exactly what Sparrow told her to do. It's really nonsensical. After spending more time with the crew than almost any other character, we don't even get a goodbye scene in the manga. Just absolute insane writing from whoever wrote the slop that was Wano Piece when it comes to what happened to Carrot's character. So again, every character that I love, there are issues with the writing when it comes to Wano onward. 76th place is Helmeppo, surprisingly high for me. I like Helmeppo, much in the same way that I like Kobe, and I also like all of Kobe's crew, really. I love the way that we have these Marines that are kind of mirroring Luffy's early crew. I feel like Kobe, Helmeppo, Gru, Hibari, and Kujaku, they really mirror the original 5 Straw Hats back in East Blue in a lot of ways, and the idea that we take Kobe and Helmeppo all the way from the beginning to working their way up the Marines, I really, really like that stuff. I think that stuff is really good. So I do like Helmeppo, but he's not the most exciting for me. Like, I don't know if he'd end up this high for me. 75th is Ulti. I love Ulti. I think Ulti is easily the best of the Beast Pirates characters, and I'm just realizing something else. And one of the best Wano characters, Ulti actually felt like what the Beast Pirates should have been, where she clashes with Luffy, gets back up, gets hit with Yamato's named attack, gets back up, gets hit with like a Big Mom named attack, gets back up, fights with Nami and Big Mom, gets back up, until finally going down eventually to Nami. Like, Ulti, having these big clashes with big strong characters and still getting back up felt like more of what an imposing pirate crew should be like, whereas a lot of the other Beast Pirates just went up against one character, got taken out in like a chapter or two, and then that was pretty much it for them. So I do think Ulti was the strongest, and Ulti, I think, was the highest rated Beast Pirate last character poll, but I don't think we've gotten Albert yet, have we? Or Kaido. And what I realized was last time Big Mom and Kaido weren't that highly ranked, and I was wondering if the fact that the voting was taking place when we were getting the flashbacks and stuff, if that would have helped out Big Mom and Kaido, and I think it did. I think Big Mom and Kaido were solidly above where they were last time. Big Mom, I know, was rated really lowly, like in the 80s or 90s. I think Kaido last time might have been in the like 49 to 53 range. Maybe he wasn't rated that highly. Maybe he was even lower than that, but I think he was somewhere in there. So I don't know if he'll have done better, but I do think he was helped out by the flashback. And even for me, I think that Kaido kind of sucked as a villain for Wano. I mean, most of Wano was bad, but he, to me, was funnier in the flashback, and that endeared me to him more. So 74th place, we have Paulie, who I think has always done kind of well. Pretty crazy. I think he's a solid, okay character, but again, he is just okay. For me, he would have ended up kind of like a C tier, middle of the road sort of character. Definitely with the high competition in One Piece, wouldn't be this high. Tashigi, I really like, 73. It's, again, those things where characters I love all have some issues. It's much like what I was saying with Usopp, where I love him, but he hasn't done much in the post-time skip. I would have liked to have seen much more of Smoker and Tashigi in the story in general. So I really, really love Tashigi. I just wish she was in the story more in general. 72nd is Hawkins. Hawkins being this high over like Drake and some of these others, Ulti, is crazy. I don't know what kind of magic he was pulling off to make it here, but 72nd for Hawkins, I think is kind of crazy. I think that's high. 71st is Figureland Shamrock. I really like Shamrock a lot. We haven't seen a ton, but just the concept I really, really like, and I'm so curious at where it goes in the future, what we're doing with his story and how it might mirror how he was raised versus how Shanks was raised, or if he actually has his own plans, if he does feel any sort of negative way toward Garling. I'm so interested in where his character goes. 70th, we have Shirahoshi. I like Shirahoshi. I think she's good. So solid enough placement for me. 69th, Monkey D. Dragon, potential dad himself. I am very much not a Dragon fan. I think the flashback helped him out immensely. The flashback helped him out so much in God Valley, but he's still so lame in the present time. Dragon never does anything. He's the leader of the revolutionaries and probably one of the least cool, one of the lamest revolutionaries on top of that. He's the main character's father and he still sucks. He is so lame. It's always, potential dad. If he makes his move, when he makes his move. He's never making his move, though. 68th is Marianne or Miss Golden Week. Insanely high. I didn't even think about her. That's really, really high. I mean, I like her. I think her character is fun and all, but do I think we saw enough for her to be this high? I don't know. 6, it's Gecko Moria. What a placement. I like Moria a lot. I think he's so underrated when it comes to Thriller Bark. I don't know what arc people were watching or reading when it comes to Thriller Bark. I think he's so underrated there in the story that's told through his character and the way the fight goes with Luffy and all. So I have always liked him, but then we've gotten even more connection to Wano and everything. We don't know if that'll actually go anywhere, but hopefully it does. 66th place is Kaido. Honestly, a bit high for him. I think he's funny in the flashbacks, but generally my thoughts on him are that he's really lame. We're presented like 3 different Kaidos that we randomly switch between, but they don't mesh well with each other. Like, his character is just super, super inconsistent in what he actually wants and what he actually wants to do. 65th is Spondum. He's always been kind of popular, I feel like, because he's just such a hateable villain. He works really, really, really well as a villain. 64th is Charlotte Pudding. I like Pudding. I think that she has one of the best romance stories in One Piece. I think Pudding and Sanji's relationship is just actually really well written, especially when we get to the end of Whole Cake. I think it's really well done at the end there. The final bit between her and Sanji is really good. Then we have Charlotte Linlin or Big Mom in 63rd. Big Mom rated higher than Kaido. I do think as a character, I would put her higher than Kaido. There are just so many issues with her writing once again where I don't think her or Kaido would be rated very highly for me. A lot of Whole Cake to me was her character was just, she's fat. Like, that's the character. Her character was, she wants to eat things. And that's kind of it. She doesn't eat things, she doesn't get food, and so she's hungry, and so she kills people. Like, the entire character motivation, every aspect of her character in Whole Cake is just, she is fat, therefore she wants food. If she doesn't get food, she kills people or goes into a rage, and that's it. It is just such a surface level basic character. But then you get into Wano and you get the Olin amnesia stuff, and everybody hated the amnesia stuff. I actually didn't think it was that bad because we got to see a different side of her character with Tama and everything, and we actually got more than just she's fat and wants food, which again, before, her character was just she's fat and wants food. That's it. That's all we were told about her. Really, for the most part. So I didn't hate the amnesia stuff, but most people did. But then when we get into the actual like fight against Kid and Law and Roof Beast and stuff, and the way that she talks about the past and everything there, I think her character gets a lot better, and I would think that she's a lot more interesting than Kaido there. Then we get the flashback stuff, and she was solid there too. So again, I don't think she's horrible, but I also don't think she's very well written, and I wouldn't put her or Kaido very high. 62nd place is Beppo. Again, he's a cute mascot character for people, so I get why he's this high. Definitely wouldn't be nearly this high for me. I don't care for or care about Beppo, and the few emotions I've had toward him are annoyance, so I'd probably even potentially put him lower than Shachi and Penguin, who are just kind of there, but at least they're less annoying. 61st place, Saint Manmare Gunko. I think Gunko is underrated. I think Gunko is great. So yeah, I think she should, I don't know, for me, would she make it higher than this? I don't know, because the competition would be so tough with One Piece, but I do think she's underrated. I do think she should be even higher than this. I think Gunko's great. Then we have Marshall D. Teach or Blackbeard, and for me, he's a solid antagonist, but not the best antagonist. And he's kind of lame. I don't really care much for Teach. I think his connection to Rocks adds some interesting layers because we can now see some more about his backstory. But if anything, it's more him pulling Rocks down than Rocks pulling him up. Rocks looks lamer having a kid like Teach than Teach looks cooler having a father like Rocks. 59th place is Joy Boy. I don't really have an opinion. We don't really know enough. For me, I don't have an opinion on Joy Boy. 58th place is Goldie Roger. Roger's cool. Roger's interesting. Not my favorite or anything. I'm pretty like, yeah, he's solid. Like maybe I'd say A or B tier or something. Maybe B tier is more fair because, again, I don't have too many emotional feelings toward him. Just, he's fine. Then we have Namur or Namule, who last time was also ranked incredibly highly. I have no idea why. I guess it's some kind of meme in Japan, but I don't know. 56th place, Bartolomeo. I get it. He's fun. He's funny. I like Bartolomeo. Not my personal favorite or anything. I think he's, just solid. Just fine. Then we have Kuro Clawhador at 55th place. That's extremely high. That is crazy high. I don't hate it, because I think Syrup Village is actually super, super underrated. I think Kuro is actually a really, really good antagonist. So the story, the writing there was all good. I like Kuro. I think the placement's fine. I mean, it's obviously high, but it's fine with me. Then 54th place, so we have Sakazuki Akainu, who is really good, really solid, but again, he's, just desk jockey. He's whatever. I don't know. I like him as an antagonist, but I don't care that much about him. Like, when it comes to characters that I think are good, he would be okay rated. When it comes to characters I like, though, I probably, if you were to tell me list off One Piece characters I like, he probably wouldn't come to mind for a while. It would take me a while to reach him. More than 54, probably. 53rd place is Imu, who is suffering from how early the poll took place, because Imu, I guess you could say that maybe too about Loki. I think Imu and Loki, from when voting ended here, they would both probably be even higher now than whatever they end up at. 53, I was expecting higher. But then you think about it, and we didn't really get to see, like, by the time voting ended, we didn't really get to see much of Emu. So, yeah, it's almost kind of a bummer. Emu could have been way higher. Then 52nd place is Killer or Kamazo. I really like Killer. Wild that Killer is this high, though. That's really, really high. I like him. I guess he was part of the Roof Piece Quintet, but wow, that seems high. 51st place, Charlotte Perospero. Perospero was highly rated last time, but maybe even, jumping up to like halfway to the number he was before, like close to that. He was like 98th or something, or maybe 91st, but crazy high rating. I don't hate it though, that he's like the second highest rated behind Katakuri, I'm assuming. Oh, and Cracker as well. I don't know where Smoothie was at, but I'm assuming she wasn't this high. I don't hate it. If anything, I could see him higher than some of those others. But like, I don't think he would make it this high for me. But as far as the Big Mom Pirates go, he's kind of the MVP of the Big Mom Pirates. He does the most, I feel like. Katakuri is mostly caught up with fighting Luffy. And outside of that, Perospero does the most, like multiple arcs too. 50th place, getting into our top 50, we have Vegapunk Lilith. I really like Lilith, so I'm cool with that. I enjoy her. I think she was good in Egghead, and I like that she continued on to Elbaf, and I think she's been good in Elbaf. It's just, she's newer. We haven't seen as much. If anything, I'm surprised she made it this highly. That's a solid enough ranking for her. That's pretty good for her. 49th place, Enel. If anything, underrated. I think Enel's great. I love him as an antagonist. I think he's so cool. So if anything, I'd put him even higher. 58th place is Borsellino Kizaru. I do really like Kizaru. But again, I don't like... If I am naming off characters and ranking them and stuff, much like Sakazuki, he would come to me much quicker than Sakazuki was. If it was my ranking, I would put him higher than Sakazuki, of course, but not my favorite or anything. I think most of the Marines don't stand up as much for me personally. And then 47th place is Albert or King, who I also think is very cool. He is carried by a pretty cool design here with the mask off and everything, but before that he was just guy in a gimp suit. All we really saw him do was get into like the big fights with all the characters like Sanji and Zoro and Marco before finally settling into the fight with Zoro and having the fight with Zoro. That's pretty much all we see of him. We get a bit of flashback that I think even the teeny bit of flashback adds a lot in this case because it's really interesting stuff for the world of One Piece. So I would love to see more, actually. I want to learn and to know more about Albert. Like, again, he is a Lunarian, and he was young when he was locked up and everything. So how did he get in that situation? Where did he come from? What were his parents potentially like? What of the other Lunarians? There's so much more about him that I'd love to learn. So while I don't know if he makes it this high for me, he makes it kind of high-ish. So, I don't know if I'd put him this high, but it's a solid ranking. 46th place is Jewelry Bonnie, and honestly, I love Bonnie, and I'm surprised that she and Kuma in the midterms weren't doing as, even better. I feel like, honestly, she should be even higher. 46 feels low to me for Bonnie. I think she's great. And then the 45th is Going Mary, lower than last time, but yeah, Mary's lower than last time. I don't know if I'd put Mary higher, though. I mean, when we had the Mary's funeral scene, or when I first saw the Mary's funeral scene, I was like mourning in real life. Like I was in mourning for like 2 weeks. There are a lot of scenes in anime and manga and stuff that have made me cry, but I didn't just cry at Mary's funeral. I was like in mourning I was like depressed for 2 weeks after seeing that for the first time. So I guess I do really have that emotional connection. It's just that it's been so long that I don't think about it as often. 44, Silver's Rayleigh. I love Rayleigh. Rayleigh's great. I would also rank Rayleigh really, really highly. He's like top 20 or 30 for me, maybe. So totally makes sense he'd be this high. 43, Ben Beckman. That just, again, we've seen pretty much nothing. That's my thing for some of these characters. For some of the characters that I really like and would rate highly, we've seen a lot of. I'd rate them highly because I like the things I've seen from them. I like the, like, not just vibes or anything, but I like the story that was told with them. But then some of these rankings, like members of Shanks's crew and stuff, it's like we haven't seen anything. Like he looks cool and all, I guess, but we don't really know much of anything. 42nd place is Izo. I like Izo, I guess, but I don't know. His death is kind of, it's one of those that I brought up, like, it's a death. That's a death. Oh, he's dead. I wouldn't put Izo above Kiku. I wouldn't put Izo above most of these characters. So yeah, Izo I liked, but he would not be nearly this high for me. Kuzan or Aokiji, this is a hot take for me, and it's one that I know is a hot take. I've never really liked Kuzan very much. I don't know. Aokiji just doesn't do much for me. And that's one of those things where I know it's a hot take, so it makes sense he's this high. If anything, you know, he could have ended up even higher, and I would have thought it seemed normal. So 41 seems fine. If anything, 41 feels a little on the lower end. But I like Kuzan. I just don't like him that much, and I never have liked him that much. Top 40, though, we get Garp, 40th place. I really, really, really do enjoy Garp. You know, you have to argue all the time back and forth on why does he still work with the Marines. There have been just so many arguments, so many discussions that have been had because of that. And I think the writing is solid enough, but it is Oda working real hard to justify it. Then for 39th place is Cavendish or Hakaba. I love Cavendish. I think this is high. I think this is a bit too high, but I do love Cavendish, so I would also rank Cavendish a bit on the high side, just maybe not this high. Then 38th place, Kaku. So many people I know love Kaku. I think he's aight. Like, he's alright, he's fine, he's whatever. So I'd rate him like, you know, A or B tier. I like him, but 38 is really high, I feel like. 37th is Kobe. I love Kobe. I want more for Kobe. I want more from Kobe. I don't know. I'd rank Kobe highly because I really, really like him. But at the same time, as highly as I'd rate him, 37 is a bit high. I could have seen him being much higher because of the stuff we saw. So, we just need to see more, I think. 36th place, Edward Newgate or Whitebeard. I love Whitebeard. I think he's amazing. I think he's great. And the flashbacks that we got with God Valley and everything just added even more to the character that we already had. So he was already great, and then we added even more on top of that. 35th is Rob Lucci. Again, I've always loved Lucci. I think Lucci is one of the best, you know, matchups villains for Luffy, not in terms of him having like a crazy good backstory or him doing super evil things, but just the relationship, the rivalry, the world government side of things versus pirate side of things, these young people, the fight that they had pre-time skip. I think that works really well. And then coming back in and doing the stuff in Egghead, I think that Luffy and Lucci's fight in Egghead is better than Luffy's fight with Kaido that he had right before that. I think it's a better showcase of Gear 5th. I just thought that fight was definitely a lot better, especially in the anime. I think they do a way better job with it. But then he fights with Zoro, and that just felt like such a waste of time. And it felt like we were doing some stuff with his character, like, oh, is he going to turn on the world government? What are his thoughts on this or that or whatever? It seemed like we were doing some stuff with his character, and maybe it'll go somewhere at some point, but it hasn't gone anywhere quite yet. And I just felt like him and Zoro just kind of wasted time with each other for a bit. 34th place, Mr. 2, Bonclay Bentham. Bonclay's a little low. He was 22nd last time, right? I think that's a little low. I love Bon Clay. I've always loved Bon Clay. So I think he's great. I think he's awesome, amazing. If anything, I think this is a little low. Would I rate him any higher than this? We would have to see. Again, the competition is so tough, but I think it is, if anything, a little low. 33rd place is Smoker. Smoker, much like I said about Toshigi, I really, really love him, but I think that he and Toshigi should have had way more of a presence in the story. Like, he shows up and has a presence for an arc here and there, but it's just so rare, whereas I think they should have had much more of a presence in the story. Then 32nd place, Bartholomew Kuma. I love Kuma. I think Kuma's amazing. The flashback is one of the best. It really showed to me after Wano Piece, oh shit, Oda is back. Oda can actually write. I think he's great. I have always loved him, love him even more now that we've had Egghead. And if anything, I'd maybe put him even a little higher, though that might just be recency. But 31st, we have Charlotte Katakuri, not making top 30, but I know that Cracker did. Wild. I do like Katakuri a lot, though. He's great. I don't overglaze Katakuri like some people do, but I do really, really like him. So now we get into that top 30. And some of the names I haven't seen yet make it interesting. So let's see. 30th place and 29th place. Okay, we have our lowest two Straw Hats. We have 30th place Jinbei. Makes sense. Jinbei, like I said, for me, used to be top 10, maybe even top 5. But then he joined the Straw Hats, and his writing as a Straw Hat just has not been as strong as it was before becoming a Straw Hat. It's like he joined the main cast to retire from being a character. So, I don't know. I am kind of meh on Jinbei now, where he used to be one of my favorites. Frankie, I love pre-time skip. In post-time skip, the personality is still there. He still has some moments here and there. He does more than some of the other Straw Hats. He gets more time than some of the other Straw Hats, but I think his post-time skip design just has, less aura. He's less cool. And that kind of takes him down a little bit for me, but I'd still rank Frankie highly. I really, really like Frankie. But again, with as tough as the competition is, he might even end up lower than this for me because I'd put some of these other characters higher. Though, there are still characters to come that I know I'd rank Frankie higher than. 28th place is Vivi. I used to love Vivi, and now I'm just kind of meh. I think it's A, because it's been so long, but also because of the weird way that Oda has written her and the way that the fan base treats her, and I guess the way that Oda's treated her too, with trying to include her in all of the Straw Hat stuff and being like, oh, she's always been a Straw Hat. And it's like, okay, honorary, maybe. She traveled with them a bit, and they consider her like Nakama. They consider her a friend and all. But she hasn't traveled with them all this time. And again, people didn't treat her like that for like a good decade or so. For a long time, she was not treated like that by Oda or the fandom. And then out of nowhere, they start trying to make this push to treat her a certain way, and it's kind of made me less interested in the character because I'm like, come on, you did not treat this character like this. 27th place is Brook. Brook is great. I'd put Brook even higher. Brook's one of my favorites at this point. He is a Straw Hat who has actually gotten to do stuff and gotten character development in the post-time skip. So I love him. Brook's amazing. 26th place is Marco. Ever since he was first introduced, I have loved Marco. So 26 totally works for me. I really, really like him. I'd maybe even end up putting him higher. 25th place is Buggy. Again, makes sense. Popular character, works well as a meme character, interesting as a serious character. I think that he should end up being related to Rock somehow. Again, Buggy being related to Rocks would have been so much more interesting than Blackbeard. So much more interesting. Even though it does do a lot for Blackbeard's character, I just think, I want some more from Buggy here. 24th place, we have Perona. I love Perona. I think she's great. This is honestly a pretty high ranking, but it's not a ranking that I have any problems with. 23rd place, Eustace Kid. I felt like after all the useless Captain Mid slander that he wouldn't be this high, but it makes sense that he is, and I like Kid. if anything, there are times when I maybe like Kid more than Law. There are times. And I think that's maybe just because Kid is more of the underdog in that situation. But, I like him. He's aight. Uh, then 22nd place, one of my favorite characters, Dofi, Don Quixote Doflamingo. Doflamingo is one of my favorite characters, like top one or two. I think he's great. I think his position as the linchpin of the New World was such cool writing, where it's like, he has connections to the Yonko, connections to the Shichibukai, connections to the world government because of being a celestial dragon, connections to the underworld. He's connected to all of this, and he's holding it together with all of his trades and his deals. And he's like, if you take me out, this peace between the Marines and the government and the Yonko and everything, this peace falls apart, and people are going to start going at each other, and we're going to ramp things up toward going for the One Piece. Like, he was the linchpin of the New World, and I thought that writing was so cool, on top of him having a really good backstory, a good fight and all, really cool and interesting powers, a good design, pretty much everything works. And then 21st place, I talked before, I like Cracker. I think Charlotte Cracker is cool. I like him. 21's egregious. It's obviously a meme vote, but it's a meme vote I'm cool with because I really, really actually unironically like him. But I am confused. Top 20 though. 20th place, we have Loki. That's extremely high. I'd put him even higher probably. Loki's amazing. I freaking love him. He's great. He is amazing. And I still, somehow or another, Biblo give him the ability to shrink down or something. I want him to join the crew. I want Loki to stick around for the rest of the series. And even if he doesn't officially join, maybe he can just still stick around for the rest of the series. We probably don't have the most time left. I think his backstory is amazing, which is one of the reasons I'm actually not a huge fan of the God Valley flashback being made into a movie, because the God Valley flashback plays a lot into Harold and the decisions that Harold makes in his relationship to Rox, and how those relationships or those decisions with his relationship with Rox lead him into the position that he is with Emu, and how Loki then loses Rox and then loses Ida and then loses Harold. The climax of the flashback is him having to kill Harold after everything. Like, all of this happens where it happens and is organized the way it is for a reason. So to make God Valley into a movie and to kind of mess with that order of things kind of sucks, because that flashback is really well crafted. But 19th place is Usopp. Have anything kind of high. Usopp or Chopper would have been my favorite Straw Hat coming out of the pre-time skip. Pre-time skip, I love Usopp and Chopper. But then Chopper doesn't do too much post-time skip, and I think his new forms, except Horn Point, look worse than the old forms, and he never even uses the one form that doesn't look worse, which is Horn Point. And Usopp does, like, pretty much literally nothing. All of post-time skip. It's been way over a decade since Usopp has really done much of anything. Like, really, he has a moment in Dressrosa, and that's about it. And even that, you have the good moments and stuff, but you also have him having to, like, I always say post-time skip Usopp is just the thing that people always complained about with Ash Ketchum, of he's just learning the same lessons over and over again. It's like he learns one lesson in one arc, and then he has to learn the same lesson again. Usopp, I think, post-time skip is just not written well. So he'd probably end up even lower for me, even though he was once one of my favorite characters. 18th is Yamato, which I think is egregiously high. I get people may horny vote a bit, but Yamato is easily, I think, the worst written character in One Piece. Like, there are some background characters that don't have any writing, so it's a net zero. Like, they don't have good writing or bad writing, but Yamato, easily the worst written character. Yamato is somebody's DeviantArt OC shoved into the story. The wolf princess with ice powers as well, related to the really strong Yonko character who is so important to the story at the time, but he, is abusive, and Dad just doesn't understand me, but he still respects my pronouns. Like, awful writing. She is very much whoever wrote Wano Piece, it's their DeviantArt OC. Terrible writing. And also just the fact that we were never hinted whatsoever at Kaido having a kid, and then out of nowhere, Yamato just gets thrust in the story with no build-up at all, even though we'd been in Wano for dozens of chapters at that point. And on top of that, we never even get into it. We never really get into Yamato's mother or Kaido's family relationship or anything. 17, Rox D. Zebek. Rox might, even though he's only been around for a little while in the story, could be top 5 for me. I think Rox is amazing. I love him. I think he's great. So Rox, for me, would be incredibly, incredibly highly rated. Again, it's recency, but I might even put him like top 5. I think Rox is great. Then 16th place, we have Carrot. A shame that she couldn't have made top 15. She was 8th place last character poll. This character poll at the midterm, she was 20 somethings, which was really good. And I thought she was going to go up even more because of all the characters, of all the posts I saw of people being like, oh, vote for this character, oh, vote for that character. I saw more of Carrot than anyone else. People were really, really out there fighting hard for Carrot. And again, she is much like Doflamingo, number 1 or 2 favorite characters for me. I think her story, and especially when it comes to the Pedro stuff and the connection to Roger, her story from Zoe into Whole Cake into Wano was really, really good. Then she was defeated by Perospero, and it's like, okay, so this is obviously going to lead to her dealing with whatever conflict she's having, which leads to her taking down Perospero, which leads to her joining the Straw Hats, and we move on from there. It seemed like a really clear character arc that worked with everything we learned about Roger, everything we learned about Pedro, everything that she had gone through with the Straw Hats and the way that she was being presented with the Straw Hats in merch and in scenes up until that point, both in the manga and in the anime. It just seemed like we were on a very clear path. And then she just never, like in the manga, she just never really got back up after the Perospero fight. And he said, go home to Zoe and chew grass. And she did. And the minks, for some reason, were like, yeah, you gotta follow Pedro's will. So a lot of people, including me to a certain degree, were coping like, okay, follow Pedro's will. That means, you're gonna travel with the Straw Hats. And much like we saw with Odin, the way that he went, and we saw that the way that Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, they're the ones telling her this, and they're the ones that stowed away with Odin and with Whitebeard and stuff. But then she doesn't. She actually just goes to did she misunderstand the assignment? She actually just goes to Zoe to chomp grass. She's not following the will of Pedro. She's following the will of Perospero. So again, I love Carrot and her story up to a certain point, but then whoever wrote Wano Piece just completely fumbled her. I don't know what on earth happened there. So again, her story was going a certain way, and then it just fell off a cliff. And imagine if it didn't. Imagine if we did just continue with that trajectory that made sense. She maybe has, after she gets taken down, the next time we get back to her, she has a flashback that explains more of her relationship with Pedro and more of her backstory. She then, after that flashback, takes down Perospero. She ends up joining the Straw Hats, which seemed very, very lined up already, and then moves on to Egghead and stuff. And at that point, even if you're like, oh, well, she wouldn't have maybe done that much since then. I mean, she was already, it would have been easy to be a lookout and stuff, but what are the other Straw Hats doing? So it just doesn't make any sense. And there's so many scenes where it's like, oh, this scene would have been better with her there. Plus, when it comes to Elbaf, it was her and Nami that got all the Elbaf lore stuff with Loki and everything. It just makes no sense what happened with her. We just wrote, Oda wrote a bunch of stuff, and then whoever wrote Wano Piece unwrote all this stuff, and then when Oda took back over to get back into Egghead and stuff, who knows what happened from there. 15th place, we have Uda, who's not much of a real character, only canon very technically. I, again, feel like people really, really like Otto, and maybe that's why, or maybe they love the movie that much, but for a movie character, this seems kind of ridiculous. Seems a bit ridiculous. 14th place is Sabo, and I'm torn on Sabo. I don't know if I'd rank him this high. I like Sabo, but I also get the people that hate Sabo. I totally understand why people hate him. Because his writing really is, Ace dies, and then immediately after Ace dies, we say, oh, but Luffy actually had a replacement brother, and this replacement brother died. And then immediately, like, no, he's not actually dead. Like, even if you thought that for a moment, no. And then he comes back, he gets Ace's fruit, and it's like, okay, we had this emotional stuff killing Ace, and we basically just replaced Ace with Ace. Like he is just replacement Ace in almost every way. So it's one of those things where I like Sabo, but a lot of people don't, and I get the people who don't. His writing isn't actually that good, and he's also a revolutionary and they're lame. Then 13th place, we have Tony Chopper. Maybe the live action helped out here, kinda high, but I do like Chopper. He is a good mascot character and everything for the series. I think pre-time skip, he has a great character. Post-time skip, he has an okay character. He does not do very much. He doesn't get very much character development. We see next to nothing from him. And his designs, when it comes to his forms and everything, just look so much worse post-time skip. They were so much cooler pre-time skip. 12th place, we have Boa Hancock. Again, following a lot of these other characters, I like Boa Hancock. I don't think I'd put her this highly, for me personally. I like her though. I like her a lot, so I can't complain too much. 11th place is absolutely egregious for Roshinante or Corazon, but the Japanese, for some reason, always vote him this highly, even though I don't get it whatsoever. Like, he was okay. The flashback was good. He was solid. I don't dislike him in any way, but why on earth do you like him this much? There are way better flashback characters. Hero Look is so much better. I mean, Hero Look is not coming in 11th. I really don't understand the fascination with Corazon. He is not that cool. He is not him like that. So getting into our top 10 now. I wonder what order they'll be in. So who do we have left? Maybe I can try to figure it out. We have kind of some of the obvious ones left. So Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Law. I'm going to lock those in as my guesses for the top 5. After that, we would have Robin, Shanks. Gosh, who else would we even have? After Law, we'd have Robin and Shanks. Are there more Straw Hats than I'm forgetting even? No, because we already had the Straw Hats. Ace. Wow, so Ace is doing that much better than Sabo this time around. Huh. And then 2 more that I'm not even thinking about. Oh, well, let's go check out, but then I know. So I guess making predictions didn't work out for me. Crocodile. That is insane for Mihawk. I would have predicted him as maybe in the 30s or something. 10th is Crocodile. Wow. Like, that's an extremely high placement, but I'm down for it. I love Crocodile. He is one of my favorite characters. He's top 10 for me, so him being here, I'm very happy with. I'm very happy with him being this high because I love Crocodile. I think he's great. Mihawk, though, Mihawk's not awful or anything, but he's kind of nothing. Mihawk hasn't really done anything, and he suffered from other characters being cool. So he shows up and he cuts a ship in half, but he doesn't do anything after that. Like, we're told he's the strongest swordsman, and he shows up and cuts a ship in half, and he defeats East Blue Zoro, but him not doing anything since then has been an issue because now we've just seen swordsmen pulling bigger feats and bigger feats and bigger feats. So it's like, okay, what does Mihawk do at this point that's bigger than the things like when we got people cutting mountains and islands and stuff? Is he going to cut the world in half? What else are you going to do at this point that's a bigger feat than we've seen from other swordsmen? and we've seen all this cool stuff from these other characters, and his position as strongest swordsman always has to rely on technicalities. It's like, well, if he's the strongest swordsman, what about Shanks? He's a hockey man, I guess. If he's the strongest swordsman, what about Big Mom? If he's the strongest swordsman, what happens with Emu pulling out swords? What happens with Venus Juro? There's always got to be some kind of technicality for him. So I think Mihawk for me is solid enough. And One Piece is a story. It's about characters and story. It's not about power scaling. And most of what I was bringing up is most of the discussion around him is power scaling type stuff. And that's because in the story, what we have is just he's the strongest swordsman. That's all we have in the story for the most part. And, the power scaling stuff doesn't work in his favor that much all the time. But then when it comes to the actual story, it was cool that he was willing to, keep Zoro around and train him up and everything. The way he's like letting the next generation come up to potentially defeat him one day. But he just doesn't have a lot character-wise. And I have hope that we'll learn more in the future. But where we are right now, Mihawk I like him, and I'd rank him fairly high. Again, maybe like 50s to 30s kind of high. But I wouldn't rank him top 10 kind of high. So that's who I was forgetting then. So next up, in 8th place, what did I say we had? We had, out of my top 5, Robin I would say in 6th. So the next two are Shanks and somebody else that I mentioned that I'm forgetting. Okay, we're seeing Ace, right. Okay, so I'm wrong. I would have said Ace in 8th. I don't even think I would have said Ace top 8, but we have Shanks in 8th place, and then Ace in 7th, and Robin in 6th, which I figured. Okay. And honestly, Ace and Robin aren't that far apart. Ace is doing really, really, really well. I love Ace and all, but I love him. I'd rank him kind of high. But 7's nuts. 7's really high. So top 5, I'm thinking 5th place is going to be, are we going to see, okay, well, 5th, it's exactly as I guessed, isn't it? Law, and then 4th is Nami. So we have 5th place, Law, Nami. So all the top 4, over 1 million votes, or at least points. So 5th place, we got Law. Totally makes sense. He's always popular. 4th place, we have Nami. Like I said, I loved seeing her in 3rd last time. Nami's one of my favorite Straw Hats, even though she hasn't gotten to do as much or have as much character development. Even though she hasn't gotten to do as much, I still love her. She's still one of my favorite Straw Hats. And I've mentioned it before that, as a kid, I liked Robin more as a character. But then as I've gotten older and rewatched and reread more, I like Nami more now. Especially, I think some of the stuff, well, Robin's gotten a couple good things here lately, post-time skip too, but I like Nami, so this works. Then 3rd place, Sanji, totally makes sense. Infinite 3rd place. Last time he was only in 4th, but that was a surprise. And 2nd place, okay, it wasn't even close. I thought this was his chance. So if not now, I don't think he's ever beating Zoro. I think this is probably the closest he could have gotten. So 2nd place, Zoro. 1st place, obviously, what? That's so close. That's ridiculously close. I love Zoro. And I have some issues with, the Aspel no Mi when it comes to Luffy. But that's close. I would not put Zoro over Luffy like that. That's so close. I am a little surprised by that. How close that is. Especially seeing how far Sanji and Zoro were. After seeing how far they were, I didn't expect him to be that close to Luffy. That makes sense. But now, that's just the worldwide character pulse. I am interested in seeing the different regions. I am. So since I'm in North America, and since Japan is like the home region, I'll save those two for last. I'll go across the bottom first. So we'll start. What are the Africa rankings? Okay, let's just scroll down. So we only get top 10. We got Loki, makes sense. Usopp, makes sense. Rocks, makes sense. Mihawk, really, really popular. We see here in Africa. Carrot, based, thank you to all the African One Piece fans. Shanks, Sanji in 4th. Luffy in 3rd. Nami in 2nd. And Zoro in 1st. Guys, I don't know. I don't know if you should trust Zoro like that. I don't know, man. Not what I would have predicted. But I mean, it all makes sense. Carrot in 6th is high. That is high. Nice though. Love even though it's recency, I love the respect for Loki and Rocks, because even with me, okay, you could argue it's recency, but Loki and Rocks are like top 10 for me. I love them. Okay, Middle East. Let's see who we have. Middle East again. Mihawk and Loki in 9th, Law in 8th, Robin 7th, Rocks in 6th. So a lot of these characters didn't make the top 10 overall. Shanks is doing really well in a lot of these. Sanji 4th, Luffy 3rd again, right? Then 2nd Zoro and 1st Nami. I just might be a little edgy to make a joke about a woman in 1st place in the Middle East. Yeah, moving to Europe. Europe, we have again Loki and Rocks. You love to see it. Robin in 8th, Law in 7th, Carrot in 6th again. Okay. Carrot is doing really well in some of these. 5th place Shanks, 4th Sanji, 3rd Luffy. Luffy, bronze medalist, bronze medal collector. Zoro in 2nd again, and Nami in 1st again. Okay. Central and South America. Okay. Usopp in 10th, Carrot in 9th again. Which I always see a lot of Carrot posts in Spanish and Portuguese, so this makes sense. 8th, if anything, I'm surprised she isn't higher than the 6th she was in the other regions. 8th is Shanks, 7th is Mihawk, 6th Nico Robin, 5 Trafalgar Law, 4 Nami, 3 Luffy, again, 2nd is Sanji this time, 1st is Zoro. These region rankings are crazy. Oceania last time was almost all female characters, I think. So what did Oceania do this time? I already see Nami in 1st. This time we got Usopp 10th, Yamato 9th. I think the well, I was gonna say Kiwis, but that's just New Zealand. But the Oceanians, you guys might have some bad taste. I don't know what they put in your water down there. But Yamato in 9th, we have Shanks in 8th, Robin in 7th, Carrot in 6th again, then Law in 5th. How'd she only end up in 16th at this point? We have Law again. Then again, last character poll, she was really highly rated, like top 10 or even top 5 in every region except Japan, but then Japan she was in like 23rd or something, or 15th. But it's just Japan. Trafalgar Law in 5th, Luffy in 4th this time, not even in 3rd. Then Sanji, Zoro, and Nami, so it isn't like almost all female characters like last time, but wow, Nami winning a lot of these regions. Okay, so we have Asia now. Asia outside of Japan, or also outside of the Middle East. Dracula Mihawk, Boa Hancock, Nico Robin, Porcus D. Ace, Trafalgar Law. So Hancock, this is the first time we've seen her in the top 10, right? Unless I'm forgetting. We've had to have seen Ace. Yeah, we've had to. Then Shanks in 5th, Nami in 4th. The Japanese ranking's probably going to be the wildest. Sanji in 3rd, Zoro 2nd, Luffy 1st. So Asia actually matches up with how the overall went there with the top 3 and all. So North America now, this would be my region. What did we end up with? We have Mihawk 10th, Usopp 9th, Carrot 8th. Up those numbers, guys. Robin 7th, Shanks 6th, and then top 5 makes sense. Law, Nami, Sanji, Zoro, Luffy. Kind of, the basic top 5. The basic top 5. Shanks, though, 6th place over Robin here. But again, Carrot's done so well in like all of these. And now lastly, is Corazon going to be number 1? What will Japan look like? Corazon is in here. Sabo is in here, who I don't think Sabo was in any of the other region rankings, right? So that 14th place carried by Japan. Corazon's 11th place carried by Japan. Uta's whateverth place, 15th place carried by Japan. I would have thought overseas would have done a lot of that too, but no, apparently it's a Japanese thing. Cracker's meme vote all the way up to, was he like 21st or something? His meme votes were Japanese? Okay. Again, Japan having the weirdest 4 so far compared to like all the others. All the others kind of mostly matched with each other, or the outliers that they had were also just ones that are always extremely highly ranked, so they make sense. Japan having the weirdest ones, and then Sanji not in the top 5 for Japan. I guess this is why he wasn't that close to Zoro, not even top 5 for Japan. Then we have Nami in 5th, even though Nami was 1st in a lot of the other regions. I guess this is why she couldn't beat Sanji again. She's in 5th here. Shanks in 4th. Mihawk in 3rd. Again, what are they doing in Japan? Mihawk in 3rd? What? Zoro in 2nd. Zoro didn't beat Luffy at least. Luffy in 1st. Japan has the weirdest ranking. The weirdest ranking. Mihawk? And now we see why some of these characters are weirdly high. Mihawk weirdly high. Even though, again, him being high makes sense. It's just that he's a little bit higher than you'd think. Even though being high makes sense. But Cracker, Uda, Sabo, and Corazon carried by Japan here. Carried by Japan. And Ace isn't here, obviously. Carrot's not here, like I said. Top 10 for pretty much all the others, but not Japan. Weird. Like, Ace isn't here, but these 4 are. Law's gotta be... Wait. Is Law not here? Law's not here. What a weird regional ranking. Mihawk in 3rd and Sanji not in the top 5 are insane. What? Well, crazy ranking at all. Either way, this is over an hour long. Yeesh. Oh well, I guess I'll get to working on this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you did like the video, comment down there too. Tell me what you thought of the rankings, what you thought of my reaction to them and stuff. I probably, once again, if you're asking for my unfiltered opinions, I probably had some spicy ones in there. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. Well, I guess I can't say that. If you want to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, you get One Piece Bingo. We do that for every new chapter. You get One Piece Bingo early, and you get your name at the end of videos, or you could just drop a super thanks or share around if you want to. That'd be appreciated too. But thank you to people who are members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Hawley and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls DD Ban and Maru, Chariton Student David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ariel. If you want to become a member or patron yourself, you can hit join down below, or a link to the Patreon is in the comments just description. So thank you, or patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes if you just want to go there. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.